Hey there guys, my name is MetaVT, and I thought since it's still October, let's read some more SCPs. Alright, this is SCP-8906. Item number, SCP-8906, Object Class Thaumatal, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-8906 is contained at its location of origin, in the cellar of what is now Provisional Site 14 under the supervision of Acting Director Crowhurst. SCP-8906-1 is to be performed unceasingly. Description: SCP-8906 is a life form of uncertain origin. It consists of a black, fleshy main body with 3 thick tendrils supporting its mass on the ground, a smaller fourth on its back, and an uncertain number having metastasized throughout the structure. Having grown into the walls and ceiling as such, its precise size is unknown. Polyps of the entity protrude from the various surfaces in the building and bear a superficial resemblance to carrion crows. Through unknown mechanisms, the growth of SCP-8906 is a clear correlation with efficacy of Foundation operations in the United Kingdom. SCP-8906-1 is a brief play written by Joseph McIntyre. It is a pastiche of a traditional masque, depicting the plight of a group of farmers during a drought, upon which an entity referring to as Archon, believed to be a representative of SCP-8906, descends from the heavens and provides them with its favor in exchange for their amusing it. McIntyre believed the performance of this play would encourage growth in SCP-8906 and thus his own wealth and power. Tests to verify are ongoing. Addendum 1, Transcript SCP-8906 Performance Prologue. Lead role: he should be mature, virtuous, with a fair complexion, and of strong blood, infinite in faculty, a paragon of masculinity. A figure of authority within a powerful body would suffice. Perhaps the director, an acting director, is undesirable. Our star clears his throat and shifts atop the stage. Archon: these are black, hollow times in which we find ourselves. The world tends ever further towards chaos. As men forget their morals, their places, their hearts, and lose their discipline, the Black Planet takes and takes and takes, and we can never rest should it take everything. And it is for this reason that we are so grateful to you. For that reason we honor you, for we see what you have done, and we desire that for ourselves. In your infinite grace, you may see it fit to grant us, and it is for that reason that we celebrate you, and all you are, and all you can be. And indeed, there will be time for you to bless us so. Exit Archon. Scene. Addendum 2, Security Feed Cellar. SCP-8906 is in the center of the room, forcing its way out of the concrete floor and reaching up to the ceiling. Black tendrils extend from the top of its mass, snaking through the room and twined into the tops of the wine racks. Crow-like polyps grow out of them at irregular intervals, fluttering and shivering, occasionally making groaning noises akin to bird calls. Crowhurst walks into the room, stopping at the top of the stairs, and looks up at SCP-8906. Crowhurst: hi. The polyps shudder, croaking. Crowhurst starts briefly, but regains his composure and begins to make his way downstairs. As he reaches the concrete, he stops and takes a few seconds to fully survey the room. Sorry, the other guy won't be coming back. Not his fault, but you understand, but it had to be done. Procedure: I'm in charge now. Please make your acquaintance. SCP-8906 pulses and quivers. Crowhurst hesitates, then starts walking slow laps around its main body. To be perfectly honest, we don't really know if you're sapient. My predecessor definitely thought you were, but we try to be rather more methodical about these things. It's nothing personal. He chuckles to himself. We were trying to figure it out though. Some of the staff even started to pull. Odds are pretty much even to this point. I put a $5 on you being sentient, obviously. Mind you, if you want to give us some pointers either way, we'd very much appreciate it. Not that I'm asking. The fella here before worshipped you, I suppose you'd like that. I imagine most people would, whether you're a person or not. I mean, I suppose if you're a god, it'd be pretty galling to be considered just a person, depending on what sort of god you were, maybe. I suppose the whole point of being a god is that we can't tell you if you are or not. Not that it matters in the end. We all know where Pascal put his money at any rate. He shovels up to SCP-8906's central mass, raises his hand. I try not to gamble, to be honest, but best not to mess with things you don't really grasp. He drops his hand at his side. Better safe than sorry. He turns and leaves. End log. Addendum 3, SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 1. The ballroom must be dark as coal, silent. The floor should be covered in dust and soil, old and dry. Enter 5 men, ideally played by lowly junior researchers. They should wear ragged suits and a dark mask, that in the gloom, they almost appear headless. None of the place should know any other's countenance. Their head, a once proud farmer, takes center stage. He stands low, head bowed, shoulders tight and clenched, while his weak patriots wail and crawl around him. Redacted. Now this summer we are disconsolate, for our fallow fields run barren, fetid as an old maid whose late years take cruel tithes. From her diminishing harvest she is left cold as we all are, in this blackest cursed night. What can we do? Starve ourselves for family? Must a man go without to save his own? I would behead myself to save one hair, but what world is this to bear fatherless? Would I merely cause them further injury? No, I do not believe it. We will live. From this rotted ground we will grow anew, for we worship one kind, glorious, and strong, who breathes life in a rotted, gruesome soil, and a rotted souls to purify them. But will he come here? To us worthless ones? No, I think not. No! At this point the other men should moan violently and come together, clutching one another, dragging one another around. Redacted. Fools, have some dignity. We are not children. We are all good men. Know your worth. This world is yours, if only you have the heart and stomach to take it. Addendum 4. Interview with Wesley McIntyre, former owner of Provisional Site 14. Forward. McIntyre was the only person in the building at time of recovery. He was discovered in the cellar lying across SCP-8906's tendrils. Begin log. Crowhurst saunters in the library, repurposes the detention room. He nods to each of the helmeted guards, then sits at the table between two bookshelves. Planting his coffee mug on the table with slightly too much force. On the other side is a handcuffed McIntyre. Crowhurst. Hello, Wes. Son, you've gotten yourself into some trouble here, haven't you? McIntyre. No comment. Crowhurst. Sorry, that's not gonna fly here. I'm not PC Plod. I know who you are, and I know about the thing in the basement. You're not getting out of this. So if you know what's good for you, you'll talk. Should I be intimidated? You can be whatever you like, as long as it's chatty. And what, pray tell, should I chat about? Let's start with the cellar, I think. As though you could possibly understand that. Crowhurst smiles, leaning forward. If you're gonna call me stupid, you might want to consider your place. I'm not the one chained to a table, and I'm certainly not the one who got caught lying in a puddle of sick on the big fella in the cellar. You might have had some money and power a while back, but all you have right now is the hope. I'll take pity on you, so you better start talking. McIntyre's quiet for a moment, fist clenched. If you want any information at all, I'll thank you not to be so disrespectful. My fortunes may have temporarily downturned, but my name still carries some weight, certainly more than yours. Huh, and how'd you figure that? Look at you, no decorum, no name, just a child dressed up as a man, bumbling his way through life's torturous game, and don't think I haven't noticed the accent. Your elocutionist is not a passionable job, I suppose, but I know what you really are. You will always be Liverpudlian underneath. Brief silence, then Crowhurst sits back in his chair, stretching. He takes a sip of his coffee, puts the mug down, and pulls a taut smirk. Huh, well, I suppose that'll be a great comfort to you. I guess I'll have to console myself with the thought of you rotting in a holding cell for the rest of your life. Oh, I'll be leaving a rich and full life, dear boy, I assure you. Oh, come on, you can't blag concrete. We'll see. I'm sure we will. At that point, a seismic event occurs within Provisional Site 14. The mug of coffee shudders up off the table and smashes on the floor. The hell? Oh dear, not been feeding him, have you? Feeding? It's a pigeon with delusions of grandeur. What? No! He slams his fist on the table and Crowhurst jumps. McIntyre takes a second, breathing steadily. Show some respect! Crowhurst looks at him for a moment, then leans forward, resting his chin on his fist. Respect for it? McIntyre flinches. You don't get to talk about a god like that, not in his own house. Interesting, and I suppose you're the priest, or maybe the choir boy? We have an arrangement. And who arranged it, you? No, you don't strike me as the type with the nose. Daddy's idea, was it? My estate has prospered for decades, and it's thanks to his generosity. Your estate is dead in the water. I've seen the accounts. HMRC's been circling for years, and the only thing keeping you from being a national laughingstock is your complete irrelevance. Not that generous, is it? Because he's been neglected. I can't serve him by myself, but everyone else went their separate ways, said they were satisfied. And you weren't? Didn't fancy getting a job in the chippy, I guess. McIntyre breathes evenly. He provides. He always has. And you may want to ensure he doesn't stop. What'll it do? McIntyre looks down and refuses to answer. End log. Closing statement. No further useful information was gathered from Wesley McIntyre. He was remanded to a holding cell in Provisional Site 14 for 2 days before being transferred to Site 23, where he will remain the charge as Director Guinevere McIntyre. Addendum 5. Security Feed Study. The house study has been repurposed as Crowhurst's office, and he sits at his desk on his secure laptop screen. It's 05-7, as in traditional for security purposes, he is unlit. Crowhurst. That's all we've gotten out of him at any rate. Has Genevieve gotten anywhere?
Not yet, but I remain optimistic. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, after all.
You get rid of most with the fly swatter.
I think your approach yielded all the success it was ever likely to.
Crowhurst scowls and quickly wipes the expression on his face. Of course, sorry sir, I must have gotten a little carried away.
Hopefully your heavy-handedness has had too negative an impact on him. He always was rather wet, that boy.
You know him?
Well, I knew his grandfather. We served in India together. Good man, a better man than that feckless oaf. At any rate, he'd be ashamed.
Yeah, well, he takes a sip from his opaque mug, suppressing a grimace. Don't suppose his grandfather, ever mentioned having a god in his basement, making him rich.
Only when he was drunk.
Of course, forgot how insidious 05 interrogation techniques were.
And you do well to remember, should you ever get a site permanently. You nearly became an 05 too, 7 in fact. Wasn't up for it. I'm afraid, of course, you need a certain je ne sais quoi to be suitable for a role like this.
Crowhurst slides a ballpoint pen to his lap and begins disassembling it.
Some people have it, some just don't, however much of a good man they are.
Brief pause.
Do you believe him?
McIntyre? I don't know. I believe he believes it. I also believe a pigeon believes its little dance is what's getting it the birdseed.
Fair comment. Tell me about the play.
Well, I'm no expert, but I understand it's fairly conventional. A few wretched farmers down to their luck pray to God, he restores them to the rightful places. Everyone has a bit of a dance, standard fare.
How complex is it?
I don't follow.
How much manpower would it require to perform? Rehearsal time?
I mean, a bit of practice and a few liberties, I reckon we could get 80% of the way there, but it'd definitely be an amateur production. It takes serious money to get it anything like it's supposed to be. We're not exactly the RSC, but McIntyre Sr. with the greatest respect, sir. He wasn't exactly Shakespeare. No, that was Gior, director Yaxley. Joseph was more of a rally. You're not seriously... The room shakes and Crowers grabs the desk to steady himself. Deep within the house, crawling and flapping wings can be heard. 80% will have to do, I think. Ends log. Addendum 6, SCP-8906-1, Expert 2. The men are set at equidistant intervals, with shovels and hoes in their hand. They till the soil dramatically, cascading dust all about, trading places with abandon. All together out of sync. We are apart. We cannot harmonize. Too many men in each man to make men. Of us, we look to you, O greatest one. Take from us our differences. Make us one. Let us be what you desire above all. A blaze of white light fills the air. Enter Archon. And Addendum 6, excerpt from Acting Director Crowher's personal log. Settled in and things are coming along fairly well so far. Office is kind of a box, but RHIP, I get the master bedroom, a bottle of the good stuff, bit of peace and quiet. Some of the staff aren't getting the not supposed to see each other thing. I keep getting emails inviting me to the pub in town. Not going, not going to touch that town with a barge pole. And I'm certainly not having anyone else cozying up to me. Can't stand careerists. So here's the itinerary. Modernize the water filters. Cheers for that, Wes. Already sick of boiling it. Order in a bunch of props for some rubbish equivalents, given the budget. Learn how to dance for the big tumor in the basement. Probably should have told Seven Wes is a loony. Should have known he'd fixate on this. Should have known better after that close fuck with the moth in Chichester. I just hope I don't embarrass myself here. Addendum 7, security feed, cellar. Music and general commotion can be heard distantly, muffled by the layers of flesh proofing the walls and ceiling. The polyps flutter and cough. A few seconds before Crowhurst bursts in, he grabs the railing and leans over at SCP-8906, nearly toppling over for a second. I don't believe it. Without looking away, he slides down the stairs. Body pressed against the banister. When he reaches the bottom, he stops, keeping his distance. 13 new anomalies contained in a fortnight. They found that many in the last 5 months, plus the fronts of the Southwest are pulling in 3 times that they normally do, which is a drop in the ocean, but still. The polyps squawk at him, flapping their protuberances. Black flakes of flesh drift down around Crowhurst. He closes his eyes and tightens his jaw, but does not move. I'm sorry, I don't mean any disrespect, I guess there wasn't any real attachment to McIntyre then. You get what you need, whatever you can get it, and that'll do you. I suppose if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. I certainly wouldn't be that attached to him. SCP-8906 groans, and the house shudders slightly. Crowhurst coughs and looks down. Nothing personal, I get well, he was here for a while, I guess I'm the new McIntyre now. I guess this is what I'm meant to do with my life. He did his whole life, right? So I guess that's me now. I suppose I have to say is one of SCP-8906 tendrils slither around and up a supporting column, patiently pushing its way into the ceiling. Plaster dust falls on some of the polyps, pointing them gray. Thank you. End log. Addendum 8, SCP-8906-1, Expert 3. The ballroom is awash in a white light. To sear the eyes, at center stage stands Archon, wearing a deep red robe and porcelain-beaked mask adorned in crow feathers, holding a rubied scepter. The man shields their eyes and groan awfully. Clutching into one another, Archon looks upon them and sighs. Archon, how strange that I should find such terror here. I happen upon broken men full of fear, unable to help themselves, no, unwilling. You cannot hear the sun and moon inside sing. Dearest faithful follower, why despair? Do you really think this world so unfair, that good men with good hearts should find themselves in such desolation that their deep delves into themselves should provide no fortune? For you are strong! Come, all you children commune. I will wash you clean in scalding moonlight. Burn the rotted flesh from your skin this night, for all that you can be is within you. Archon steps down from the stage and surveys his men, shaking his head with pity. You must be willing to be born anew. Tear yourselves apart. Let me reconstruct you into something worthy from what's tucked away deep. You are not yet worthy, no. You poor wasted souls, how unkind this world to punish good men whose wings near unfurled. You can live at last, each will wear a crown, so breathe deep in my smoke and let yourselves drown. Scene. Addendum 9, expert from Acting Director Crow's personal log. Done it 5 times over 35 days now. Apparently 65% of UK sites are reporting at least some increase in anomalies contained. Reductions in containment breaches and or reduction in expenditure. Maybe some of that expenditure can go on doing this place up. The thing's certainly growing, but it's growing into an actual structure of the house. There's not a lot of room for said structure to go in response. We've completely lost a bathroom at this point. Thank fuck the water filter's still holding her, we'd have a whole new problem. Everyone's so damn cheerful. I feel like Santa watching the elves scurry about on Christmas Eve. They're still trying to get me to the pub. I'm still not going to that town. I don't even know why they want me to. They're bloody Foundation VIPs at this point. Do they need my approval too? Christ, I need a drink. Addendum 10, SCP-8906-1, Expert 4. Archon takes up a torch and lights 5 coils of incense, placed as points of a pentagram at the far edges of the room. All 10 men should be stood in the middle, still for the first time in the performance. Archon, within you all is what you are, and have been. The greatest virtues, lechery unseen, love and hate, and everything in between. Well, no more. All men crowd and rejoice. For 10 men, however worthy, can harmonize, but 10 must become one to sing unison. You wish for hermetic harvest? It's yours. And you know what a harvest requires? And you know what I will provide for? The men dance joyously around the ballroom, each completing one full circuit before returning to their original positions. You know what I like. I like what you know. I must know you. No nuance, no discord. You must be hollow, must be fathers, and your fathers' fathers men, you all know. And I, father all the while, will help you. Men in unison. We are you, we are us, no other father, father, son, son, brother, brother. Crowhurst produces the blade. Now, you reshape yourselves in my image. Only your transformation sets you free. A seismic event hits Provisional Site 14. Crowhurst yelps, setting himself on the wall, and all personnel start. One of the incense coils falls to the ground, and junior researcher Redacted hurriedly removes his jacket and tries to fight the flames. What happened? Redacted, did you move? Redacted, no, did you fucking, wait, whose phone is that? Oh, look, just clean up in here, and for God's sake, don't burn the place down. Crowhurst withdraws his mobile phone from underneath his robe and scurries out of the room. End log. Addendum 11, security feed study. Crowhurst sits at his desk, phone to his ear. His face is ashen, and he stares in the middle distance. How many? Do we have tabs on any of them? Well, I do apologize, expecting you to have some sort of contingency plans, but it's not my fucking site, is it? He rubs the bridge of his nose as he listens. No, I didn't mean... No, I can't imagine. I'm... How long were you and her... Yeah, I get why... No, I don't think so. Oh no, you're not pinning this on me. We were halfway through when it happened. We weren't doing anything differently. Look, I get you're upset, but don't you dare... Hello? Don't... Fuck! The handset clicks as he slams it down, and he sits back, chair squeaking. He reaches down and pulls open the drawer in his desk, which clinks. Above him, the tendril has broken through the wall and runs to the center of the room, quivers, as the crow attached to it regard him. His eyes then slowly and carefully shuttering the drawer. This you? One of the crows snaps at another. When I was on the phone, I didn't... This isn't on me, is it? Brief pause. I'm doing my best. You know, what do you want from me? I'm doing my best. You know that, right? Provisional Site 14 shakes gently for a few seconds. The Crowhurst holds his head in his hands. End log. Closing statement. Over the next 3 weeks, 2 further containment breaches occurred across the UK, with 25 casualties and 7 anomalies lost. Acting Director Crowhurst has been officially reprimanded, and further resources sent to Provisional Site 14 to aid the performances of SCP-8906-1. Addendum 12. Provisional Site 14 required stock. Redacted extra staff for SCP-096-1, plus assorted costuming. Use of SCP redacted to allow multiple performances of SCP-0906-1 by each group during the same interval time period. 1 liter bottle of brandy, Napoleon brand, redacted. Tapestry featuring depictions of SCP-8906 and moments from SCP-8906-1 for exhaustion. Scaffolding to reinforce ceiling in the ballroom. Addendum 13, Memorandum from Acting Director Crowhurst. Good folk of 5-5, congratulations with your sterling work. We're on flying form, and combinations are sure to follow. Profits are soaring, containment surges, 8906 grows. We're the best staff here in the whole country, and I'm sure of that. Even if I can't put a face to you, still, that's as maybe. I still know you well. I praised you with no nuance, no discord, and I do not doubt our further success and recording, and the fucking... Addendum 14, SCP-8906-1, Expert 5. The 25 men in the center of the room shear, and Crowhurst approaches, blade held aloft. The nearest man raises his hand and takes it from him. Your eyes, that you see nothing unknown. Mime gouging the eyes. Your ears, that you hear nothing fearful. Mime piercing the eardrum. Your tongue, that you say not unrecognized. Mine removing the tongue. Your head, think now only what you have thought. Mime stabbing the head. Your soul, that you may be full once again. Mime getting the... I fucking hate tourist traps. 10 mouth get all the attention. This place is close enough they siphon off all the visitors without being close enough to actually be worth visiting. It's just as bad. Beaches that promise soaring sun and just give you oil slick seas and torrential rain. Authentic food that's just overpriced clotted cream and scones. I could get the same dross from that cafe in Tesco. Fascinating history of swashbuckling pirates that's all just nicked from the big cities where actual interesting things happen. I don't know how anyone survives here, all falling down. At least castles look impressive. Even if there's nothing left inside, places like this, you don't even get the facade. Not sure why I went down there today. Maybe it's because it's the off season. Nobody goes to resort in October. I sort of assumed that the place would have shut down and all the residents switched off until the fairground reopened. Maybe that appealed to me. There's never a moment's quiet nowadays. I just want some quiet. Anyway, I was basically right. It was a ghost town. Well, mostly. There's a place, Miranda's Miracles. Farnsworth recommended it before he got transferred. Thought I ought to check it out. Trudged in, bell chime, but Miranda, I assume she was Miranda, but she was on the phone. She didn't notice me. Dumpy thing. 60s, I guess. I'm not sure. I've never been good with faces. Try putting them something sweet then. Wrap them in a winder or something. No, I know, but it does not work on dogs. She massaged her forehead. I couldn't make a composite for her, but I remember how great she looked. The bags on her ass. I see those all day, every day. Look, love, you can only do what you can do. It's not your fault, you are. Did he just break something? Alright, I'll let you go. Calf shuts in an hour. I'll be there as soon as I can, alright? Lots of love. She hung up and sighed, then started muttering to herself. I probably should have said something, but I didn't really care, so I just cleared my throat. Scared the shit out of her. Oh, alright, my lover. Sorry, didn't see you there. She chirped up. God, I hate Bristol accents. I just said clearly, she sort of shifted, as well she may. Thankfully, she was a bit less chirpy when she apologized again. Asked me what I wanted, and I asked for tea and a scone. If she could pay attention long enough, and then she started getting ratty with me, and none of this fucking matters. Why am I bothering? She was nice. Nicer than she should have been. I could see she wanted to knock my block off, but she held it together right until she started filling a kettle with boiled water, and I made a crack about not being able to afford a coffee machine. She apologized straight away, but I know, pissed off at a dickhead, and I know something is wrong, and I could see this was the ladder. I worked for the Foundation. You need an instinct for the ladder. You don't get where I am now without one. There's something wrong with the water. The tap just spat out thick white fluid. Accurate, it made my eyes water. It's not usually that bad apparently, but if it's ever that bad, there's something seriously wrong. I took a sample, stole that water bottle when she wasn't looking, but I didn't need to. We both knew what it was, we just didn't want to. She thought it was impossible, I thought it was too possible. Because there's reservoir right near here, just over the hill, and if that water in the towns below is turning to bird shit, I feel like I know where that's coming from. We've been doing this for months! They've been drinking it, washing in it. Miranda said she got in touch with the council, said they're very concerned. They're getting on it by doing up Bittenhouse. She has a grandson. He's not even old enough to have his jabs. Got another meeting with 7 tomorrow. Apparently we've contained 5 new skips since last time. He's sending them over. I've got to talk to him. We can't go on like this. 05-7.
Oh? Why ever not?
He's a reasonable man, a worldly man. He knows what the right thing to do.
The right thing for whom, dear boy?
We can't do this somewhere else. Hell, why can't we do it at all? We've got on perfectly fine this long without poisoning anyone.
I'm afraid that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unless you'd like to step down, I'm sure some young upstart would be eager to take the position.
I'm knackered. We're doing this 24/7 now. New strangers. I'm not allowed to look at flooding in. Now I'm the one drowning. Maybe I should step down. Maybe. Did you really think we were finished here? Crowhurst stands up top of the stage, consciously still in the crimson lighting. He steps down the stage to the ballroom floor as he speaks. Crowhurst. Is this not what you asked for? I'm doing what you wanted. I'm doing my best. You know that, right? The show must go on. And what a show! Around the ballroom, men act over and over, overlapping into an organized cacophony. Beautiful order, tongue severed. Regrown by SCP redacted to be severed and regrown again. All is as it should be, in perfect order, an endless cycle of betterment, worship, profit, to clearly correlate with the efficacy of the Foundation. Operations through unknown mechanisms. You've seen it before, you'll see it again. You won't see any better. We're all the same inside and out. Isn't that the point? However fancy the mask is, there's always someone underneath, but there doesn't have to be. Redacted walks in precision to his side, holding the scepter. Crowhurst smiles. We could transcend that, free ourselves from life's torturous game. That's the point after all, isn't it? To become something better, more worthy, something that silly old us could never do. Who needs a soul after all when there's so much else to fill up with? Crowhurst takes the scepter and freezes. He lurches forward once, twice, a thin stream of vomit forces its way through the slit in the mask. He stops the staff, clutching his face, but his limp fingers simply brush ineffectually over the strings branding it onto his face, and the vomit forces its way back to burn the rotted flesh from his skin this night. No matter. At this point, he isn't really necessary. He continues to wrestle with himself, drowning in mask and robe. Well, why is he bothering? None of it fucking matters, and this house shakes violently, throwing him to the ground. A chunk of stone falls from the ceiling, tendrils still attached and spewing ichor, crushing 3 men. Fleshy crows fly from the gap. Crowhurst scrabbles at the floor through the tremors, eventually crawling to the door where he grabs onto the handle and is almost swung to the air. He barely pulls himself up and collapses through the doors as the rebels continue behind him. I'm afraid that's just the way the house crumbles. Scene 15, Int Cellar. The actual structure is barely visible. He has grown to vast proportions. Tendrils wind through the wine cracks, bottles shattering the ground where they have been forced off, staining the floorboards red. Enter Crowhurst. Disheveled, Nabiko's mask smashed off, his chin coated in his own fluids. He staggers down the stairs, tripping halfway down and barely catching himself, swinging on the banister as it groans in protest. Bleary-eyed, he stares at the main body of him, wrapping around its pillar and snorts, a half smile appearing and vanishing in an instant, and a slur in his voice. Oh hey, fancy seeing you here. He totters down the remaining stairs, shoes squunching the black meat of him, and he sways before it. It's all gone to hell. All bloody gone to hell. That's what it is up there. Hell. And it's not gonna stop. He twitches, majestic. They've all lost their minds, every single one of them, or I have, because I just don't get it. There's a town full of people drinking bird shit. A load of people, my people, good people, upstairs, tearing themselves apart. At least I think they're good people. At least I think they're my people. I don't know. I don't recognize any of their faces. Still, at least I'm still here if I ever was. The house shakes again, and one of the few remaining bottles crashes from its rack. It should not hit Crowhurst instead of being cushioned by his flesh. I did everything you wanted. Fuck those people in town over. Danced like a cocked up lunatic. I became everything you wanted, and it wasn't enough. Where the soul shite came from? We can't have a soul because you don't? I guess you're the sort of guy we should have expected. He twitches and gurgles. His crows flap their wings and scream his song. Crowhurst feebly grabs the wine bottle and throws it at them. They squawk and jump to avoid it before returning their gaze to him. Well, what is it that you wanted? He pauses and blinks rapidly. Did you want anything? Finally, he stumbles, landing in a heap and splattering ichor around himself. With a grunt, he struggles to sit upright and leans back on his gratefully accepting form. After a few moments, he breaks into a genuine smile. You haven't understand a word I've been saying to you, have you? He begins laughing hysterically, barely holding himself up. Eventually, his laughter dies as he closes his eyes. He is still. A crow breaks off from the nearby tendril, flaps over, perching on Crowhurst's shoulder. After an experimental peck at his neck, it eyes him evenly, then caws, and the flock descends. Scene. Wow. That was, I really like that story. That was a really good SCP story. That was just a good SCP. I mean, hey. It was interesting. I like the whole play aspect of it. You know, it was good. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below if you enjoyed it. If you'd like me to read any other stories, please let me know in a comment. I'll look into them. Please like and subscribe. Have a great night.